Hi, I'm Shane Phillips, the CEO of the Phillips Group, and we're here at the HR Summit in Expo, the largest HR event in the Middle East, and I'm here with James Raley, who's in charge of operations for Cubiks across the entire Middle East. James, welcome to the show.
Good to meet you, Shane. Thank you.
So, you specialize in talent management programs, and what you're here at the conference talking about now is about high volume sifting, is it?
Yeah, that's what we were really focusing on yesterday. So what we mean by that is where if you're working for a company with a big brand, for example, and you put an advert on your website for a job vacancy, chances are you're going to get hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands sometimes applications for that role. So where we come in is we'll help organisations sift through those applications and find the people that are the best fit for the organisation and the role.
What kind of technologies are you using, and what kind of cost per hire are you able to deliver on that high volume sifting?
Yeah, so in the volume sifting stage, it doesn't complete the talent acquisition process entirely. It's that first stage. So what we're aiming to do is with some of our clients, for example, they may have 150,000 assessments per year for 5,000 roles. So we will get them down from 150,000 to, let's say, 10, 15,000 applicants, and at that point then they can start doing the interview process and assessment centres if they wish. In terms of the technology, that's what's really exciting. It's really revolutionising this process now. So a lot of it can actually be automated. On your website you might have a chatbot that will ask those what we'd call killer questions. Do you have the right qualifications for the role? Are you living in the right country, for example? Then we might see the values alignment with the organisation. So we'll ask some questions, a bit like flicking through Instagram on your mobile phone, really. You'll have a picture, a value statement underneath, and then a star rating. How important is this for you? And at the end of the process, we'll say to the candidate, hey, you're a 90% fit for our organisation. You might fit for this particular kind of role.
It's like a culture assessment.
Right. The importance of the culture assessment is you might find someone with a perfect CV. They may have great experience, but ultimately if they don't fit, if they're not going to enjoy their role there, they're going to leave, they'll be disengaged, they're not going to perform how you'd like them to. So the values fit is a great way of starting that sift. Are you the right fit for our organisation? And then we can zoom in a little bit more. So the other thing technology brings us now, particularly data and people analytics, is Cubiks assesses 2 million people a year, give or take. And with all of that data, we track a number of people through their careers. So we assess them at the beginning, and then let's say we're looking at an HR manager and that kind of role. We'll track all of those HR managers. We run what's called a 360, a multi-rater assessment every year on those people for a number of years. And we'll then identify those people who are consistently high performers. We get their data, we come back to the original assessment, and then we find patterns in that data, and those patterns drive the algorithm to give us the score.
Wow, and what's some of the big insights you've had when you go back and look at that, when you're cross-referencing, after 5 years, hey, these 6 people have been as high performers. Yeah. What was the insights you saw from the assessment?
So there are two main functions here. One is an ability assessment, like verbal, numerical, abstract reasoning. That's a great predictor of performance on the whole. So if you have a high cognitive ability, the chances are in any role, you're likely to perform better than others.
Abstract reasoning is a high predictor of peak performance.
The combination of verbal, numerical, and abstract, yeah.
All three?
Yeah.
Triple whammy there.
So if the combination of those, if you get a high score, you're likely to perform better. However, it's not perfect. There is a bias with ability assessment. So if you are a white Western male, for example, you're statistically more likely to perform better. So if you only
your tests are racist.
Sorry?
Your tests are racist.
Cognitive ability assessments have a bias, is how I'd put it. But essentially, yeah, so if you only use that assessment to hire people for your organisation, you're going to have a bunch of white Western males in there. And no one wants to work in an organisation with a bunch of white Western males. So there we bring in a personality assessment that measures job fit and also reduces that bias a lot.
Right.
So when we're talking about the patterns that we find through our people analytics, there we're picking out specific competencies that are more important in certain roles.
Right.
In typical sales roles, for example, you'd be looking for someone who's a bit more extroverted, their people skills, their interpersonal style is strong. So typically those competencies, you'd need a higher score to perform well in a sales role. Or someone in a data analysis role, they're going to need a high attention to detail. So those kind of competencies will have a higher score.
Well, James, it's a fascinating topic. I could spend all day here with you talking about it, but thank you for sharing your insight, and hopefully I think people can go online and find out more about you there.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thanks, James. That's James Raley, who's in charge of operations for Cubiks across the Middle Eastern region. I'm your host, Shane Phillips, CEO of the Philips Group, and we're at the HR Summit at Expo, the #1 HR event in the Middle East.